Well, thanks for joining us. I'm Marlon Bowling with you, and we have some new information just came out. It's related to our ethanol production in the U.S. We get these every Wednesday at this time. Now, let's take a look at what we had last week for production. It actually tailed off a little bit, down 68,000 barrels a day, down to 1.039 million. But remember, last week, I believe, was the second highest ever. So, it had a pretty high hill to maintain. Now, the 4-week average now at 1.087 million barrels per day. Ethanol stocks went up a little bit. They're up 200,000 barrels to 20.3 million, and imports stayed at 0 this week. So that's the latest on the ethanol production. Let's take a look at our grain prices. And right now, the corn market really hanging right in there. It's showing some pretty strong gains. Let's go to the board here, and we have December at 563. Whoops, now 564. And that's 9 1/4 cents higher. March now up 8 3/4 cents. Pretty strong action here in the corn, within a penny of our high of the day. January soybeans now 5 3/4 higher at 12.17 3/4. And in the soy products, we have soybean meal down 70 cents on December. That puts it at 341.80 per ton. Soybean oil, by the way, we had an overnight sale of soybean oil. It was 22,000 tons to unknown destinations. We have December futures 95 cents higher at 59.42 per hundredweight. Well, let's move on to wheat. And in Chicago, you currently have December now 13 3/4 higher at 7.92 1/4. Really getting some oomph in behind the market here on the wheat. Now in Kansas City, wheat December 13 1/2 higher at 8.07, almost on the high of the day. How about that? And in Minneapolis wheat, you have December 17 1/4 higher at 10.41. And that's within 2 cents of our high of the day. Well, we have Todd Bubba Horwitz on the line. He hails from Chicago, and he joins us. He's with BubbaTrading.com. So, Todd, you and I were talking right before we came on live here that there was a lot of speculation that maybe the market had a bearish tilt ahead of that report, and no matter what came out, it was going to be hard to be bearish enough. Is that what happened?
I think so, man. I think they were too over bearish, actually, and I think that's why we're seeing the rally. And I would venture to say that we have seen the lows in soybeans pretty certainly. Corn was not under as much pressure, and wheat has been pretty strong. I expect wheat to go back over $8 in the next day or two without much problem. And I think we're now going to start to see higher prices rolling, and I think we're going to see a good end of the fourth quarter and beginning of the first quarter. I think things are pretty positive at the moment, and unless something major occurs, I think we're going up.
So I see where the December corn, if we take a look at that again, we currently have it trading, like I said, about 9 cents higher. Now it's 8 cents higher at 5.62 3/4. But if you look at the 22 December corn, in other words, the red December of next year, it's only 5 1/2 higher at 5.46 1/2. So they're starting to get a little separation favoring the nearby contracts right now.
And that's pretty typical. We get into that. We switch between backwardation and contango. And I think what you're going to see is, obviously December's going to come off, but we'll start to see the spreads widen first and then come back and narrow as they did this year. And I think that, again, that's just, that's too far out to really price in accurately. So we focus in on what's active and what we're going to deliver now. And I think that's where we go. But overall, the whole markets look pretty strong and pretty solid. And I think that's natural action in the markets in general. And I think that's what we're going to see. A continued move to the upside here.
And of course, this is all in the face of a lot of strength in the U.S. dollar index. If we can bring that back up on the screen here real quickly, December futures up 569 points right now. 94.525. And yet the grain markets are higher anyway. That's pretty impressive. Todd, thanks for the time. Todd Bubba Horwitz of BubbaTrading.com. He's located in Chicago. We'll be back right after this. All right, we're back with you, and considering the fact that we had pretty good strength in the grain markets, I wanted to touch base and see how the cattle market is doing right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at our live cattle trade with our quotes provided by Bar Chart. First, we have December live cattle now trading 65 cents lower. We're at 131.55. That would put us just 2 ticks from our low of the day right now, and about 80 cents off of our earlier high from this morning. So at that point, we would have been about 20 cents higher. February live cattle, well, they're down 30 cents at 136.40. So weaker across the board on the live cattle trade. On the feeder cattle market, wow, triple-digit losses across the board. January down $1.57 at 158.22. And we wondered about that when we saw the corn market starting to rally today. Lean hogs are mixed, mainly weaker, steady to weaker. The December down 7 cents at 74.87. February unchanged, narrowly mixed in the deferreds. Real quickly, I want to go back to Todd Bubba Horwitz, BubbaTrading.com. Your thoughts here on this livestock trade? It's kind of caught in the crossfire with the rally in the grains now.
Well, you know, look, I think that they look great, and I think this is natural selling, and we know every time corn rallies, feeders sell off a little bit, but eventually regain whichever trend they were going. And I think we're going higher. I think all three, fats, feeders, and hogs, look pretty solid here. And unless they do some major selling, I would expect to see much higher prices. I think we're already, typically seasonally higher than normal, and I think they're going to continue. I think there's nothing to really stand in their way other than some major event in the economy or in the country. But over that, I think we're going much, much higher.
So we have had quite a bit of selling ahead of the last week or so. And now on live cattle, of course, on that December contract, we've been talking about that, how it keeps stair-stepping higher after the low that it made around the 1st of October there. Todd, great points. Appreciate that, sir. And thanks for talking with us today about our ag markets. Todd Bubba Horwitz of BubbaTrading.com. He's located in Chicago. Janet, I'll turn it back to you.